Stupid science. Stupid science.
Science. Pew, pew, pew. Welcome. It's Stupid Science with JD and Lisa. We're having a great time. We're going to have some stupids. We're going to have some sciences. And let's get the show started.
Sciences.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're starting off with the stupid.
Every damn day.
If we have any new listeners to our podcast, welcome.
Welcome.
You're laughing and
Strap
learning
in.
with JD and Lisa as we cover stupid criminal news and science news.
You laugh, you learn.
It's the Stupid Science Podcast.
You think, what are those two fuckers doing?
And so we start off, of course, with stupid criminal news.
Better.
Predominantly Florida man news.
Gasp.
As right out the box here. Boxer shorts, actually, right out of the box. Florida man in boxer shorts and socks.
Okay.
Comes into a Little Caesars.
Little Caesar.
Apparently.
I don't think that restaurant is Roman.
That's a fair case, a fair bet. Anyway, so he comes into Little Caesars. It's closed. Little Caesars is closed, but the employees had failed to actually properly lock the door, or they had properly locked it. They just hadn't properly closed it, so the lock would engage. I suspect. I don't know these particular employees, but since they're Little Caesars employees, I'm going to suspect they were high when they left.
Say that. And
so
excuse me, but the close down procedures say lock the door.
Doesn't say close and lock.
Thank
So
you.
Mr. Chad Korn, age 35, in his boxer shorts and socks. So he had socks, no shoes, but he has socks on in Florida.
We forgot to give a disclaimer at the top of this how sexy this episode
This is up by Pensacola.
Of course it is. And Cola.
So he comes waltzing on in.
Yeah.
Doors open. Waltzes on in.
Like a king.
Finds no one there. So he attempts to leave. Or no, but not before grabbing a couple bottles of water and a brownie.
Okay.
And an employee apron, because he realizes he's underdressed. So he puts on an employee apron.
Well, now it's bad.
To style up.
Stealing a tire, sir.
And then he attempts to leave.
Yeah.
But he can't, because when he entered, he gave the door enough leverage that it did properly close and the lock engaged, and so now he's locked himself inside the Little Caesars.
To your damn self.
With his brownie and his soda and his stolen apron.
Now down to one bottle of water. Looking good, though. Looking real good. That apron with those boxers.
So,
nibbling on that brownie.
So now...
And his socks and
this
sandals.
criminal mastermind decides he knows what he's going to do. He's not going to be trapped in here, not be imprisoned.
I will not be outsmarted by the Little Caesars on 5th Street.
So he attempts to go up through the ceiling, because, they have, like, in all those places, they have those crappy little things. You push the panel out of the way.
And he's also seen Mission Impossible.
Right.
I get it.
So he, of course, immediately falls through the tiled ceiling onto the floor below.
Oh, buddy.
Which sets off the security alarm. He's been in here for however long at this point without setting off the alarm, eating food. And now he set off the security alarm.
Yeah.
Because when he tried to MI5 his way out the door, out through the ceiling.
I would just fall through the ceiling. Nobody will know.
Yeah. According to the sheriff's office...
Is the brownie okay?
When they posted on their Facebook page about this, because the sheriff's office apparently had a great deal of fun with this story.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Pensacola.
Quote, surrounded by disintegrating ceiling tiles and loosely bound wires, he falls... all the way to the ground, the sheriff's office said. He lands in a tumbled heap of wires, broken ceiling tiles, and hurt feelings.
Oh, you gotta have fun.
Oh, my God.
Oh, let him keep the apron. You've earned it.
So he runs for the, this story isn't over yet. This guy is...
What's left?
He's not done. So he starts running towards the...
Locked door?
The what do you call it? The drive-through window. Okay. As he's making his way towards the...
Because when Little Caesars closes the door, it opens the drive-through window.
The drive-through. He's making his way towards the drive-through window. The phone rings in the restaurant, And remember, everything's on security camera, of course. So as he's making
we know this.
Yeah. So Mr. Corn, that's his guy's name. Did I tell you the guy's name? Did I not tell you the guy's
I
name?
would remember Corn locked in
Chad
the pizza.
Corn. Chad Corn is his name, age 35. So Mr. Corn, as he's waking his way back, the phone rings, and he decides he's going to answer the phone.
I'm dressed. He looked
here.
down. He's like, I'm in the uniform.
I'm here working. I got the apron on.
What you need?
So
What kind of pie
he
can we
answers
make
the
for
phone.
you?
And then
Little Caesars.
and then quickly hangs up. One presumes it was the security company calling to see why the alarm
The
was
alarm
ringing
went
and
off.
see if the owner is there or whatever.
What's
as
the
they
code? Brownie?
do. My God. So he makes his way to the drive-thru window.
I'm just calling because somebody broke into that Little Caesars. Somebody broke in here with me?
He manages to climb out the
The drive-thru window?
drive-thru window, by which point the sheriff's office has arrived in
Plenty of
response to the alarm and finds him there
Yeah.
outside the window.
Sure did. Your 15th attempt to get out of the building. They had enough time to stroll on by.
Oh,
buddy.
Mr. Corn.
And had plenty of questions. Just from what you're wearing alone.
I like the fact that he first tried to go through the ceiling, and then when that failed, he resorted to his option of last resort, the window.
Yeah, he was like, this may sound nutty. When I say to myself, corn, and I'm like, yeah, corn. Not many people would try a window, but we're going to be daring. We're going to be trailblazers.
There's really no other choice. When I had nowhere else to go, I thought, I know, there's a window.
I'm out of brownies. I don't blame him, though.
I can't believe they didn't leave any pizza for me.
Yeah, that's why he left. Because he was going to hunker down.
Right, otherwise. Oh, my God.
He picked up the phone, and then it occurred to him, oh, maybe I shouldn't.
In other fast food-related news,
It's hard to believe Florida man in fast food.
right, it's over in St.
Intersect.
Petersburg, your old haunt.
Here we go.
A man was arrested
Yeah.
at a Taco Bell for
Sure was.
exposing himself
Not news yet.
after Christopher Verstraeten, age 33, crawled through the drive-through window of a Taco Bell,
'Cause-
all while completely nude. So he didn't get the window didn't remove his clothing because it was too tight or anything. He removed his own clothing.
So he heard about the first story in Pensacola and was like, hold my beer. That guy was half naked and climbed out a window?
Right.
Watch this.
Watch this. He climbed in the window, got inside, laid down on the kitchen floor, and then refuses to leave. I don't know what he was protesting exactly.
Not a stitch of clothes on that St. Petersburg man?
And then he was arrested for exposure, not the breaking in or whatever. But
I didn't break anything. I entered.
he just entered.
I wiggled and entered.
And
There's
not in the-
there's
God,
no W.
phrasing.
There's no W and E.
And not in the good way.
Phrasing.
So, a man from Fort Myers. I'm going to leave his name out because
Oh, no.
this is just dumb and not really all that criminal. Well, it's a little bit criminal, but so
Criminally stupid. That's a category.
Hillsborough. He was in Hillsborough County.
That's Tampa.
Okay. In a honeymoon suite. So apparently he's from Fort Myers. He and his wife and his new wife go to Tampa for a honeymoon, which all right, we're already on the bad side of this story. It's only getting worse.
You want to class it up, so you go to Tampa Bay.
So while he's in Tampa, he and his new wife on their honeymoon.
Love is in the air.
They have a presumably romantic evening. She falls asleep.
Mm-hmm.
He's still wide awake, energized, so he decides to go out a little bit while she's asleep and gets himself arrested in a prostitution sting that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is running in Tampa.
He could.
He didn't even get with a prostitute and then got caught up. The prostitute that he called was in fact a cop. He got caught up in this thing by a cop while on his honeymoon.
So is it even cheating? That was a cop.
So yeah, he can explain that. You can go ahead and try and explain that to you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be an annulment in his future.
Yeah. A fight and then an annulment.
or death. Yeah, it's possible he may die soon.
Nobody's charging her with a damn thing. Let's throw this case out, ma'am.
On his honeymoon to Tampa, he gets arrested for prostitution.
I gotta find me one. Gotta find me one of them nice Hillsborough County hoes. Wow.
Wow.
How could you? How?
And I just don't want to embarrass his fiance. I'm not going to say any of those names.
She's been through enough.
She's been through enough. There's no need to.
You know what? Thoughts and prayers.
And that's how supervillains are born.
Yeah, it's like all men gotta pay. I will hurl this planet into the sun.
Oh, okay. So here, this next story. This is a great story. So in DeLand, Florida.
Okay.
Florida man was arrested this past Thursday. So he and his girlfriend are being arrested.
That's how it starts?
This is how the story starts.
Step one, be someone getting arrested.
So they're out of the car. They're being talked to. They're being pulled over for, I think it was for speeding was the original
the position.
And while they're being talked, and the cop is, they're about to get a DUI arrest. And the one cop calls the other cop around to his side of the car, and as that's happening, the second as he comes around, says, he just dropped some dope at your feet there. Apparently the boyfriend had dropped his bag of meth at his feet and tried to kick it underneath the cop car as a way of hiding it. And as the second cop says that, he just dropped his dope underneath your car there, the girlfriend says, oh man. That's in the official record. They wrote it down.
Quote. Oh, come on, man.
She's like, oh, man. And then she tried to say that it wasn't her, that it was just all his. She tried to throw him under the bus. It was just like, that's not mine. That's all him. It was none on me. And the cop responds, I mean, you might as well try lying, I guess.
Sure. I mean.
And then they found meth on her.
No.
In her pocket as they searched her.
This is my shocked face.
So that was DeLand, Florida.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, by all man, I've never heard of drugs.
Man. I can't believe that.
You can try.
Let's see. Flagler County.
Okay, Flagler.
Flagler County deputies picked up a Gainesville, Florida man.
Sure did.
Out of a swamp. There was a long...
So, Gainesville.
Gainesville. There was apparently a long chase.
Yeah.
When they were trying to catch Alonzo Devon Peoples, age 23.
Not Von Peoples.
Not Van Peoples. Devon Peoples.
All right.
Age 23 for driving with a suspended license. That's all they were after him for was driving on a suspended license, which is not good, but that's not major time or anything.
Right.
But he decides that he goes and he makes a wild U-turn and speeds away.
Oh, he turns this into a high-speed car chase.
Into a high-speed car chase.
All right.
So the deputies are pursuing him, but they're hanging back as cops, they don't do the high-speed chase anymore. So they're hanging back, and other cops come up in front of them and drop a high rate. They drop one of those speed stick things that causes the tires to blow. Mm-hmm. And so now he's crashed. And he doesn't give up, though. He gets out of the car and he goes for a run and into the swamp.
He saw reruns of Dukes of Hazzard.
Right. And then the Marine unit, they put an airboat into the swamp, and now they're chasing him around the swamp.
Oh, that's fancy.
And eventually they find him, because how long are you going to...
That's some Burt Reynolds stuff right there.
I mean, in real life, when you don't have a crew there to provide you with fresh water and give you rest breaks, fleeing through the swamp is exhausting and
Somebody
dangerous.
should have told me.
And... So
this is not cool.
So this did not last much longer after he got into the swamp.
Yeah.
And he's going to jail. Yeah. And I'm going to end this section on actually not a stupid criminal story, a happy story. Once in a while I like to end this section on a happy story to give some people some
I like being happy.
really happy news. So this is a Florida woman's story.
All right.
Columbia County.
Hello, ladies.
Fire and Rescue. Mm-hmm. This is Lake City, Florida. 3 puppies in Northeast Florida were saved from a burning house after an Amazon delivery driver noticed there was a fire in a house and there was clearly nobody home. Nobody was acting yet, so they contacted the fire department. They got there in time to save the puppies that were at home alone.
Oh, good.
And like they
I have such trust issues. I was waiting for a dark turn, but
I told you it was going to be a nice story. You know, I guess I've given you reason to believe that, but this is a nice story.
Prankster telling me a story. Oh, that's so sweet. The puppies. They got the puppies.
And the firefighters were able to contain the fire to the room where it started, so they also managed to save the house.
Oh, there goes my hero.
Puppies.
Watch him as he goes.
And so
puppies.
On that note, we are going to take a musical break.
Yay, music.
And when we come back...
Science.
Stupid science. Stupid science.
Science. Pew, pew, pew. Welcome back. It is Stupid Science with JD and Lisa. We heard some nice music. We got our stupid on. And now time for my favorite segment, science. Science news.
Science.
Let's get some sciences.
We got some science news. And
Put some sciences right in my ear.
First, from Africa with some science news.
Excellent.
From the nation of Zimbabwe, where Darlington Muniqua, Deputy Director of National Museums and Monuments, has been part of an expedition and talking to BBC about where they found one of the oldest dinosaurs in African history, in world history. Africa's oldest dinosaur found in Zimbabwe.
Congratulations. I'm very excited about Africa's oldest dinosaur. I feel like I should have got a sash or something.
You should have gotten a sash? Why are you?
To give to the dinosaur.
Okay. Oh, you should have purchased a sash. I thought you meant when you said you should have gotten one, that you should have received one. And I was like, babe, you're being too hard on yourself. No, this is...
That's not what I was saying. They call me old African dinosaur, y'all. How dare you?
More than 230 million years ago.
That's an old dinosaur.
I'm not going to pronounce this right. Miborosaurus rothi was 1 meter tall, ran on 2 legs, and had a long neck and jagged teeth.
Oh, that's a little baby nothing.
Scientists said it was a species of sauropodomorph, a relative of the sauropod, which walked on 4 legs. The skeleton was discovered during 2 expeditions in 2017 and 2019 to the Zambezi Valley.
That is a huge, huge find.
They're saying that this fossil comes from the Triassic age, apparently, which is very rare to find dinosaur bones from the Triassic age. Okay. Most of them are in your gas tank. So
look at what he did, y'all.
And boom. So this is excellent. So this era, which ended more than 200 million years ago, had been unearthed in South America, India, and now, for the first time, Zimbabwe.
In Africa.
So they're very excited about it and shedding light on evolution and migration of early dinosaurs, yada yada. I mean,
dig them bones.
You know, science. We're learning stuff. We all know that it was that Jesus put them there just to confuse people.
Yep. A couple Thursdays ago.
Keep the mystery alive of the Creator.
They're never going to figure this out. Put some more over here. And, put some in Africa. Do that. Creep them out. I am very happy that scientists found some things they were looking for. Weren't even looking for.
One thing they believe this find tells them, before we move on to the next story, is that it tells us, this is according to Professor Anasuya Chinsami Turan. She's a paleontologist at the University of Cape Town. Then she said, quote, it tells us that when dinosaurs were evolving, they were found on different continents, but they seem to have followed a hot, humid environment rather than dry and inhospitable ones.
Smart. That's what I do.
So anyway, that's in BBC. If you want to read more about the discovery, you can read about it in BBC.
Learn about those old bones. Dim bones.
What else we got going on in the world of science news? Oh, moving on to insects.
Okay. This better be a good story for me to even talk about insects.
Okay. Okay. So this is about ant queens, and it's about aging. And it's about the process of how, apparently, ant queens, and there are some other insects have similar thing, but in
their hive,
they live far longer than any other types of ant. Even other types of female ants who could potentially be the queen. And not only that, but that when one ant queen dies, and then there's like a competition among all the females who could be the next ant queen, and they go into a period where they start to get impregnated and blah blah, and whichever one of those is going to become, one of them is going to become the new queen, and they during this period have a longer lifespan than the other ants around them, and then whichever one becomes the queen keeps this longer lifespan, and the other ones return to normal aging. The ones who don't become queen.
There's something about that physiological change that's needed to become the queen.
Right, which is what they've been studying.
Increases their lifespan. Opposite for human women, though.
According to this article published in the September 2nd issue of the journal Science, they're studying what it is that causes this, and they're using the H. saltator, a particular type of ant, that they're studying to determine how this happens. And apparently, there's a blocker that comes with insulin that blocks certain activities in the pathways of your body that affects aging.
Interesting.
And this is what is controlling this behavior.
Interesting. Insulin blocker. I'm hearing that again. I hear it when I'm studying nutrition. I hear it when I'm studying Alzheimer's research. Fascinating. Keeps coming up.
So apparently this is a quote from them. The secret sauce protecting the ants from the insulin's aging effects appears to be a molecule called IMP-L2, which blocks the branch of the insulin pathway linked to aging. Experiment showed. The branch involved in reproduction, however, remains active. So, I mean, the image, it's hard to do a good analogy, but insulin affects different aspects of the body.
Right.
And this molecule is able to turn off some aspects that it affects while allowing others to continue. In this case, those that affect your aging while allowing the reproduction to continue for these insects. And they're saying that this behavior associated with insulin exists throughout organisms, including humans.
I'm one of them,
Humans. It's like a human. It sounds similar, but looks different. I mean, anyway. I feel like Hollywood is gonna have its new charity right up around the next corner. I think this is going to become the primary charity of Hollywood for the next
before anything. We need to do this. I need to work.
In other,
I haven't gotten older, darling. The films have.
Forget AIDS and cancer and all starving children. Forget all of that. Suddenly, boom! That is going to be the most well-financed science.
The Forever Young Institute is going to get all the money.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in other bug-related news.
Okay, I'll allow that first story. Let's see what's up with bug story number 2.
So, over in Japan, an international team led by researchers at the Riken Cluster for Pioneering Research, or CPR.
It's got to be a cluster.
Has engineered a system for creating remote-controlled cyborg cockroaches.
No, thank you.
Equipped.
You lost me.
And this is cyborg cockroaches. These are not robot cockroaches. These are cockroaches that have been cybernetically
implanted and enhanced.
Exactly, enhanced.
Great. My favorite kind.
Equipped with a tiny wireless control module that is powered by a rechargeable battery attached to a solar cell. I'm reading all of this word for word right out of the...
Still don't believe it.
Despite the mechanic devices, ultra-thin electronics and flexible materials allow the insects to move freely. These achievements reported in the scientific journal NPJ Flexible Electronics on September 5 will help make the use of cyborg insects a practical reality. As if
Never.
this is something we've all been hoping for.
Finally.
Finally.
What a time to be alive.
My dream of becoming Ant-Man is around the corner.
Did not think it would happen in my days. A tear of joy trickles from my face. We don't need
I
this.
have been to the mountaintop.
Make a small robotic device. Why you gotta make a cybernetic roach? Come on.
This is every horror movie that's ever been made. It's like there's some engineer or physicist somewhere is like, I gotta do that.
Now that, yeah.
That's...
I'm on it. Now that we've
totally
done
cool.
this, it's time to fund our trimmers research. That's the only one left. Chuds.
Some chuds. That's what we need.
Oh, why did we say that out loud?
So
I veto the cybernetic cockroaches.
apparently,
vehemently.
Researchers have been trying to design cyborg insects, part insect, part machine, to help inspect hazardous areas or monitor the environment. I mean, a drone can do that.
Sure can.
However, for the use of cyborg insects to be practical, handlers must be able to control them remotely for long periods of time. And what says heroic enterprise, like one human being taking over and it's basically, enslaving another organism to make it do its bidding? In dangerous areas, sending it into dangerous areas you yourself don't want to go as a living organism. Mm-hmm. This requires wireless control of their leg segments powered by a tiny rechargeable battery.
So gross.
This is horrible. This is really just awful.
I played with micro machines as a kid. Like, we have already made tiny flying, crawling, slithering, wandering.
There's no reason to enslave other organisms.
Not one.
And send them into horrible, radiation-infested areas or whatever that you feel like, we can't possibly go there.
Right. We don't have to alter a roach. We can send a tiny... Okay.
While it's possible...
I veto this.
The article goes on, while it's possible to build docking stations for recharging the battery, its need to return and recharge could disrupt time-sensitive missions. Therefore, the best solution is to include an onboard solar cell that can continuously ensure the battery stays charged. So there won't be any interruption in the...
Oh, it's solar powered?
In the servitude of the...
So you're telling me this technology is green?
It's green, yeah, it's green tech.
Okay. Oh, you almost want me back.
Of course, all of this, I love this article is just, all of
Trying
this,
to sell it.
The next line is, all of this is easier said than done. Finally.
Taking over control of another.
They're complaining about the limited surface area and the need for the ultra-thin organic. I mean, it's
like, it would be great if we could build our own device so that it fit the motherboard we wanted. But no, our only choice is altering a living thing.
Right.
And there's not a lot of space on there to work. Cry.
Led by Kenjiro Fukuda at Riken CPR, the team experimented with Madagascar cockroaches, which are approximately 6 centimeters long.
Those are huge.
They attached the wireless leg control module and lithium polymer battery to the top of the insect on the thorax, using a specially designed backpack, which was modeled after the body of a model cockroach. It was 3D printed and conformed perfectly to the curved surface of the cockroach. Oh, well, as long as they were concerned about its comfort.
It's tailored. It's bespoke. Great.
Allowed the rigid electronic device to be stably mounted on the thorax for more than a month. Oh, my God. How long do these things live?
Turns out a month.
About a month, yeah.
About a month. Turns out.
Oh my God! So that's going on in Japan. For the first time, scientists over in Germany.
All right.
I'm going to attempt to pronounce the name of these two universities. We'll see how that goes. At the
just take our word for it. They're actual universities.
At the Technische Universität Dresden and Technische Universität München, which we will call TUD and TUM from now on.
Please.
Have discovered an entirely new type of phase transitions in quantum particles, and they believe they've discovered the first ever a mass entanglement. Instead of entanglement of two particles or just a couple of particles, they found a quantum orgy. Mm-hmm. That is not their term.
I didn't think so. That didn't sound like the good people at TUM or whatever we decided was the acronym.
The results were recently published in the scientific journal Nature. This article here is, which in physics.org is describing it as new fur for the quantum cat. It's a Schrodinger's cat reference there.
New fur.
Researchers from Dresden and Munich have now observed behaviors on a much larger scale than that of the smallest particles. Until now, materials that display properties like magnetism have been known to have so-called domains, islands in which the material's properties are homogeneously either of one or a different kind, either all black or all white, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at lithium holmium fluoride, LiHOF4, the physicists have now discovered a completely new phase transition at which the domains surprisingly exhibit quantum mechanical features, resulting in their properties becoming entangled, being both black and white at the same time. Our quantum cat now has a new fur because we've discovered a new quantum phase transition which has not previously been known to exist, says Matthias Volta, chair of theoretical solid-state physics at TUD.
All right, son.
One more thing from this article about this topic before we move on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So they're saying what is new is what happens when you change the direction of the magnetic field. We discovered that the quantum phase transition continues to occur, whereas it had previously been believed that even the smallest tilt of the magnetic field would immediately suppress it, explains Federer, one of the scientists on the project. Under these conditions, however, it is not individual magnetic moments, but rather extensive magnetic areas, so-called ferromagnetic domains, that undergo these quantum phase transitions. The domains constitute entire islands of magnetic moments pointing in the same direction. So, it's
science.
They're finding out that the implications of the magnetic fields and the quantum fields interacting with each other are larger and occur in more as field interactions rather than pointal interactions.
Okay. Which encompass larger characteristics.
Right.
Got it.
And then finally, our final story for today, to wrap up science news and
like a hobbit.
stupid science.
Stupid sciences.
We're going to go with James Webb Telescope. So the James Webb Telescope, among the many firsts it has accomplished already, and what appears to be an endless supply of firsts coming at us.
Dropping first.
The pictures are just amazing.
Yeah,
I know technically they're kind of simulations, but they are just amazing. Mm-hmm. According to astronomer Sasha Hinckley, University of Exeter in England, they have seen images, direct images, not inferred images, direct images of a planet. The first exoplanet the James Webb Space Telescope has looked at, and it was able to block out the light from the star, the nearest star that it was orbiting, and therefore take images of the planet itself. Quote, we're actually measuring photons from the atmosphere of the planet itself.
Awesome. A huge exoplanet.
Amazing. Yes. Very few. We've seen images, we've captured imagery of exoplanets before, but that's, for the most part, overwhelmingly has been inferred from gravity and the effects. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you're there because I can,
Only a handful have ever been directly viewed, and this is obviously, like I just said, the first one that the James Webb has directly taken a picture of.
And she's a big beauty.
And it is beautiful. It is a beautiful image. It is really just incredible. And the fact that they're capturing this, atmosphere, the atmosphere of the planet, they're able to discern what's in it, and it's just incredible.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it's very distant from its star, and
from the novice to the rocket scientist, it captures your imagination. It solidifies some of the things that you thought you knew, and also really cool to look at. So your left brain logical side and your right brain creative, look at how pretty that thing is side, are both stimulated by the images and the information and the hope for future information that is gained by each and every image.
Well, on that note,
I love that science. That story of the cyborg cockroaches can go F itself. But right. Other than that...
There were some good stories there, right?
Science.
Science. Laughing and learning with JD and Lisa. Thank you. You've been a great audience. Glad to have you around.
We love you.
All three of you. Please tune in. Tell your friends. Maybe if you tell two friends and they tell two friends,
We can
then
start
they
our
tell
cult.
two.
I remember that commercial.
All right, and we're out.